Have you ever had the unsettling feeling that someone in your life isn't as friendly as they appear? Maybe they smile, nod, and say all the right things, but deep down, something feels off. It's like their words and actions don't quite match, leaving you second guessing your own instincts. This isn't just paranoia, it's a real psychological phenomenon. Carl Jung, one of the greatest minds in psychology, spoke of something called the shadow, the hidden, often suppressed side of a person's personality. When someone harbors resentment, jealousy, or dislike towards you, their shadow leaks through in ways they may not even realize. No matter how much they try to hide it, their subconscious always reveals the truth. And that's exactly what we're exposing today. 8 subtle but unmistakable signs that someone secretly resents you. These signs are easy to overlook if you don't know what to watch for, but once you recognize them, you'll start seeing them everywhere. But be warned, sign number 8 is the most dangerous of all, because by the time you notice it, the damage is already done. 1. Sarcasm and contempt disguised as jokes. Hidden hostility doesn't always show up as outright insults or arguments. In fact, some of the most dangerous resentment is masked behind sarcasm, passive-aggressive jokes, or backhanded compliments. Maybe this person always teases you about something sensitive, your job, your appearance, your dreams, but when you call them out, they laugh it off. Come on, I was just joking. Don't be so sensitive. You know I'm just messing with you, right? Wow, you really can't take a joke. At first, it might seem harmless, but over time, you start noticing a pattern. Their jokes always seem to target your biggest insecurities. They never joke about themselves, only about you. And worst of all, you leave these interactions feeling small, uncomfortable, or even humiliated, but you can't quite explain why. This isn't just humor, it's disguised contempt. Carl Jung believed that people project their own hidden fears and insecurities onto others. When someone constantly mocks or belittles you, even under the guise of humor, they might actually be revealing something about themselves, a part of them that feels threatened, jealous, or resentful toward you. And here's the real kicker. The more they deny it, the more likely it's true. Because deep down, they know exactly what they're doing. But sarcasm is just the beginning. What happens when resentment turns into subtle acts of sabotage? That's what we'll uncover next. 2. Subtle sabotage, when mistakes aren't accidental. Sometimes resentment doesn't come in the form of harsh words. It comes in the form of small, seemingly innocent actions that always seem to work against you. Have you ever had a friend, coworker, or even a family member who somehow forgets to tell you important details? Maybe they forget to invite you to an important meeting, give you misleading advice that sets you back, accidentally leave you out of group plans, conveniently forget to mention an opportunity that could have helped you. At first, you might brush it off as bad memory or coincidence. After all, mistakes happen, right? But what if these mistakes always seem to happen at crucial moments? What if they only ever happen to you, especially when you're on the verge of success? This isn't forgetfulness, it's sabotage. Carl Jung believed that people who feel inferior but can't confront their own failures often project their frustration onto others. Instead of improving themselves, they unconsciously try to hold others back, without ever admitting it. And the scariest part? They'll never take responsibility. If you confront them, they'll act completely innocent. Oh no, I totally forgot. I feel so bad. I thought I told you. My mistake. Wow, you really think I'd do that on purpose? The truth? They knew exactly what they were doing. And if someone is willing to quietly sabotage you, what happens when their resentment turns into full-blown competition? That's what we'll explore next. 3. Silent competition, the subtle need to outdo you. Some people just can't stand it when you succeed. It doesn't matter how hard you've worked or how much you've earned. If you outshine them in any way, they feel compelled to downplay your success and shift the attention back to themselves. It can be as simple as telling them about a recent accomplishment. I just finished this big project at work. I finally hit my fitness goals. I'm so excited. I just got a promotion. Instead of being genuinely happy for you, they immediately try to overshadow you with a story about their own achievements. Oh, I did something like that last year. That's nice, but my promotion was way more competitive. That's great, but you know, I've been working on something even bigger. It might sound like casual conversation, but underneath, there's a quiet competition. every time you win, they feel like they need to top you because, in their mind, your success challenges their own self-worth. Jung's concept of the shadow explains this behavior perfectly. People who feel insecure about themselves often project that insecurity onto others. And when you succeed, it forces them to confront their own lack of fulfillment. Rather than facing their internal struggles, they compete with you to make themselves feel better. So when every interaction with this person feels like a race to see who can outdo the other, it's not just about friendly competition. It's about unresolved feelings of inadequacy. But this silent rivalry isn't always as obvious as one-upmanship. What about those who act kind and supportive, but in reality are doing the bare minimum to hide their true feelings? Let's explore that next. 4. Apparent kindness, superficial support that doesn't add up. Some people might appear incredibly kind, even supportive on the surface. But when you look closer, their support always seems shallow or detached. They're there for the good times, but when you really need them, they're nowhere to be found. This isn't just about missing a call or not showing up for a gathering. It's about what they do or don't do when it matters most. When you're going through a tough time, they might act like it's no big deal or minimize your situation. Oh, everyone has problems. Just get over it. When you achieve something significant, their excitement is either forced or barely noticeable. That's nice. Congratulations, I guess. When you're facing an important decision, they might offer advice, but it feels more critical than helpful, like they're trying to steer you in the wrong direction. It's the lack of genuine emotional investment that sets this apart from normal kindness. You can feel when someone's support is authentic and when it's not. Carl Jung's theory on ego dissociation can help explain this behavior. People who are emotionally disconnected from others often don't show true compassion or support, especially when it challenges their own sense of control. When someone can't connect with their own emotions, it's difficult for them to share in yours, especially your successes. It's easy to mistake superficial kindness for real care, but when their support doesn't line up with their words, it's a clear sign that something deeper is amiss. But what if their kindness is just a front for something more manipulative? What if they're really trying to control you under the guise of concern? Let's break that down next. 5. Control, disguised as caring, manipulation under the mask of helpfulness. Have you ever noticed someone in your life who seems to always have advice for you, even when you didn't ask for it? They claim it's because they care about your well-being, but every suggestion they give seems more like an attempt to steer you in the direction they want, rather than supporting you to make your own decisions. This kind of behavior is tricky because it feels like concern at first, but it's actually an effort to control you. They might say things like, "I just don't want you to make the same mistakes I did. You should really reconsider that decision. I don't think it's the best for you. I think you should focus more on X instead of Y. Trust me, I know better." What seems like advice is really a veiled attempt to undermine your confidence in your own judgment and keep you dependent on their guidance. Instead of empowering you, they make you second-guess yourself, which ultimately puts them in a position of power. The scary thing is that they don't even realize they're doing it. The need to control others usually stems from their own fear or insecurity. People who struggle with their own emotional chaos might try to control others as a way to avoid confronting their own vulnerabilities. They may think they're doing what's best for you, but really, they're trying to create a dynamic where you feel unable to make decisions without them. If you consistently feel more insecure or confused after interacting with them, instead of feeling empowered, it's a huge red flag. You might even start questioning your own decisions because they've made you doubt your abilities. But there's another insidious sign that often accompanies this: when someone tries to manipulate your image and reputation. Let's dig deeper into the next sign. 6. Criticism and gossip, the weapon of indirect hostility. Some people may not have the courage to confront you directly, but that doesn't mean they aren't trying to tear you down. Instead of speaking openly about their frustrations, they take a much more insidious approach. They spread gossip and criticism behind your back. You might not even realize it at first. At first, it's subtle, One person starts to act a little colder toward you, or a group of friends seems to be avoiding you without explanation. But soon, you notice a pattern. Friends or colleagues begin treating you differently, almost like they've received some negative information about you. You hear rumors or half-truths about yourself circulating, often twisted to make you look bad. The atmosphere shifts around you, and you can't figure out why people seem more distant. This is often a result of someone spreading negative or distorted information about you. This kind of behavior can completely undermine your reputation without you ever knowing who's behind it. Jung's idea of projection helps explain why people gossip. When someone feels inadequate or insecure about themselves, they may project these feelings onto others. By talking badly about you to others, they try to shift the focus from their own flaws to yours. They're looking for a way to feel better about themselves by tearing you down. What makes this especially dangerous is that the gossip is often subtle, and its effects are gradual. It may start as a rumor, but the impact can snowball, leading to a situation where you're isolated or misunderstood without even knowing why. If you feel like people around you are suddenly colder, or if you hear distorted versions of your actions circulating, it's a sign that someone close to you might be undermining you in ways you can't immediately detect. Now, what if someone seems to be acting supportive, but can't seem to muster any real joy for your success? Let's explore that next. 7. Resentment toward your success. The envy that lurks beneath. Have you ever shared an accomplishment with someone, expecting them to celebrate with you, only to have them respond with indifference or even annoyance? Instead of being happy for you, they act as though your success is a burden or something to be brushed aside. This behavior is often driven by envy, and it's one of the most telling signs of hidden hostility. People who secretly harbor resentment toward your success might react like this. They change the subject quickly, or bring up something about themselves as if your achievement isn't worthy of their attention. They might say something like, "Oh, that's great, but it's not a big deal." Or, "I've already done something like that, so it's nothing new." They could even try to downplay your achievement or imply that you didn't deserve the success you received. Anyone could have done that if they tried hard enough. This reaction is a clear sign of envy. Someone who struggles to be happy for you because your success highlights their own feelings of inadequacy. Jung's shadow concept explains this well. When someone feels insecure about their own failures or shortcomings, they might project that negativity onto others by belittling their successes. If you notice a pattern where someone seems to struggle to celebrate your victories, or if they try to minimize your achievements, it's often because your success is a painful reminder of what they've not achieved. This subtle envy can grow over time and lead to a deeper resentment that could manifest in more destructive ways. But there's one final, most subtle way that hidden hostility might show up in the nonverbal cues that someone gives off without realizing it. Let's dive into that next. 8. Hidden details. The nonverbal language of hostility. Sometimes, words aren't needed to express hidden hostility. People can mask their true feelings with a smile or kind words, but their body language tells a different story. When someone feels animosity toward you but tries to keep up the facade of friendliness, they often give away subtle clues through their posture, facial expressions, and gestures. Here's how hidden hostility might show up in nonverbal cues. A forced smile that doesn't reach their eyes. You can feel the insincerity in their expression. Avoiding eye contact when you're speaking, especially during moments where you're talking about something significant or personal. Tight or stiff body posture, especially when you talk about your success or something positive in your life. Small but telling changes in their tone of voice when they give you a compliment or respond to your news. A brief flash of anger or frustration that flickers across their face just before they mask it again with a neutral expression. These are the subtle details that reveal what they really feel, even if they're trying to hide it. Often, these moments are so brief and seemingly insignificant that you may not immediately notice them. However, if you trust your instincts, you might catch them. Jung argued that our unconscious mind never lies, and it's often expressed through the body, which can't help but reflect our true emotions. When someone tries to hide their resentment or discomfort, their body language betrays them, signaling that something is off, even if they're speaking kindly or maintaining a calm demeanor. If you sense unease, tension, or coldness, pay close attention to how the person behaves when they think you're not looking. Sometimes, body language speaks louder than words. Conclusion: trust your instincts and be aware of the signs. Hidden hostility often wears the mask of friendliness, making it hard to identify. Contempt, sabotage, silent competition, superficial kindness, criticism, and envy can all take subtle forms, but they're all part of the same shadow, the side of us we try to hide. Jung's theory on the shadow reminds us that when we project our negative feelings onto others, we might not even realize we're doing it, but it affects the dynamics of our relationships. The most important lesson here is to trust your instincts. If something feels off in a relationship, take note of the small details. Hidden hostility is often revealed through body language, subtle comments, or patterns of behavior that don't add up. So, the next time you feel uneasy about someone's behavior, ask yourself, are they minimizing your success or making you feel inadequate? Do they offer helpful advice that feels more like control? Are they reacting coldly or with forced enthusiasm when you share your victories? Recognizing these signs is the first step toward protecting yourself from those who may harbor hidden resentment or envy. Thank you for following along in this deep dive. Don't forget to subscribe for more content like this and take a moment to reflect on the relationships in your life. Who might be harboring hidden hostility, and how can you protect your peace moving forward?